Namaste, angels. Thank you for joining, sharing, liking, subscribing, all of that. I appreciate it. This is the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, May 5th, 5/5, through, I just realized something, through Saturday the 11th. I just realized that the heart of the matter in my moon reading, Taurus new moon reading, was a card number 55. Something, okay, never mind. I'll have to think about that some more after this. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on this week. 3 of them on the 6th. So we'll talk about all those. I'm going to start with what I'm choosing as the first. The Jewish month of Iyar begins on the 6th for this year number 5779. And for a little bit about what Iyar is, I'm going to www.chabad.org, chabad.org, for anybody that wants to look it up themselves. The Jewish month of Iyar. Iyar is the second month of the Jewish calendar year, counting from Nisan. So they're talking about the ecclesiastical year, not the calendar year or the traditional calendar, like the Gregorian calendar year that we follow, or otherwise known as the civil year. They're specifically talking about the Hebrew ecclesiastical year. So it's the second month. Nisan last month was the first month, otherwise known as the head of months. Okay. Shortly after the Exodus, the thirsty Israelites reached a well of bitter water. Moses cast a tree into the water, and it miraculously became sweet. God then promised that if Israel followed his ways, quote, "The diseases I have placed on Egypt, I will not place upon you, for I am God, your healer." The acronym for this last phrase spells out the name of the month, Iyar, thus indicating that Iyar is a propitious time for healing. Now, this is a little side note that's not written here. What I recall Iyar to mean is rosette, as in like the flower, rosette, because it always reminded me of the Rosetta Stone. So maybe I'll talk about that for a second, because it's coming up in my mind now, but for now I'll go on. Although Iyar does not contain many quote-unquote special days, every single day of the month is included in the Sephirot, counting the Omer, and the mitzvah to count each of the 49 days between Passover and Shavuot. This is a period of introspection and self-refinement. So we keep seeing this self-refinement sort of thing pop up in all the readings that I've been doing over like the past couple weeks. Self-love, self-discipline, self-refinement now. And that's what this period is going to be also, as we prepare ourselves to receive the Torah anew on Shavuot. Each day of Iyar represents another step in this spiritual journey toward Sinai. So as in like Mount Sinai. The 14th day of Iyar is Pesach Sheni. Maybe I'll talk about that when it comes closer. I do see a 33, so I want to mention... Never mind. There's so much stuff, but I'm seeing like numbers pop up in this article. Enough about Iyar. Maybe again, like when that day comes up, I'll talk about that. So May 6th is also going to be the first day of Ramadan. So, it's 6:13 exactly now, p.m. On the 4th, Muslims, which is today, the day on which I'm recording this reading, Muslims all over the world begin to like look into the sky for the crescent moon, because that's going to decide officially what is the first day of Ramadan. The moon was not sighted in Saudi Arabia this morning. Therefore, Ramadan will begin on the 6th. Now, what is Ramadan? For that, I pulled up a random site. It looks like an organization that helps to educate people on like diversity and culture. It's ing.org/Ramadan-information-sheet. That's the webpage. Ramadan is considered the holiest month of the year for Muslims. In Ramadan, Muslims fast from food and drink during the sunlit hours as a means of learning self-control, gratitude, and compassion for those less fortunate. So there's another bit of self-awareness, self-control now too. Ramadan is a month of intense spiritual rejuvenation. You know what? That came up yesterday too. There was a card about the card that said get some rest in my butterfly deck in the first spread that I did of the Taurus new moon reading. And I said, I'm not feeling that it has anything to do with sleep. It's like recovery, rejuvenation, getting yourself back together. So it might be connected to this larger period, perhaps, of Ramadan. It's a period of intense spiritual rejuvenation with a heightened focus on devotion, during which Muslims spend extra time reading the Quran and performing special prayers. Those unable to fast, such as pregnant women or nursing women, the sick or elderly, and children, are exempt from fasting. So I remember the first year that I was doing this, we decided to observe Ramadan, some of us, my viewers and myself. And we were like trying to get as many prayers in the day as we could before sundown. I may try that again. I am going to observe the fast. So, and I've been inviting people, welcoming people to do it along with me. So if you like, you let me know. You can put in the comments, or you can contact me or whatever. We'll figure out how to do something and maybe like hold each other accountable. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. So although it's starting the same day now officially as the month of Iyar, the month of Iyar is the 8th month of the calendar, of the civil or Gregorian calendar. For Jews, for the Hebrews. And we're saying Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. And this is based on a 12-month lunar year of approximately 354 days. Because the lunar year is 11 days shorter than the solar year, each lunar month moves 11 days earlier each year. And it takes 33 solar years for the lunar months to complete a full cycle and to return to the same season. Do you see why I almost got stuck on that 33 when I was reading about the month of Iyar? Because I knew it was going to come up again. This year, the month-long fast of Ramadan is set to begin on May 6, 2019. The month traditionally begins and ends based on the sighting of the first crescent of the new moon. Starting on May 4th, Muslims throughout the United States, I feel like this is like mocking me, like repeating everything I just said a few moments ago. Starting on May 4th, Muslims throughout the United States and the rest of the world will begin to search the sky for the new crescent. Or in some cases, they will follow a predetermined date based on astronomical calculations. During this month, Muslims fast from pre-dawn until sunset as a means to grow in God consciousness and in moral excellence. Now, I knew that Ramadan was going to be celebrated on the 6th officially because I got subscribed to like an Arabic newspaper or something, like online newspaper, and I get notifications from it. And so that was one of the articles that I got this morning and ended up reading. They're not saying why Ramadan even exists on this page. So this might not have been the best one, but I can tell you that it is in recognition of Muhammad having received the first words of the Quran, and sort of culminates at the end of June around or in observance of that event. I can tell you that the date that's recognized for which Muhammad began to receive the Quran is June 10th, a date that I am unable to forget because that's my children's father's birthday. And Ramadan does go through 613 which is mine. So that's enough on Ramadan. There are many, many places where you can find additional information, of course, should you wish. Rosetta Stone, I'll just quickly mention, because I don't know if it's going to come up or whatever. So Rosetta Stone is not just an online way to learn to speak another language. It is an actual stone. And it's a stone that was rediscovered back in 1799 after having been first discovered in the year 196, I think it was, BC. And when it was found, it was like covered in, it had more than one side. There were 3 languages written on it. So it was like a text. And the reason that they know the year that it was first created, this 196 BC, is because it contained 3 different versions of a decree that had been issued in Egypt. And the 3 languages that it was written in were Greek, hieroglyphics, and I forget the third. I'm doing all this with my memory, so cut me a little slack, please. I beg of you. But you can check all this out, everything that I am saying. I forget the third language. And the stone was used in construction at some point to as part of building this fort. And the fort was located or within this little town called Rashid, which actually means Rosetta, or which translates to Rosetta, in the Nile Delta, this place. So the stone thereby, started to become called the Rosetta Stone. And of course, it was like this phenomenal piece of, archaeology, piece of history. And then as time went on, archaeologists came to find that there were a number of similar stones, that this was just something that the ancient Egyptians, or Egyptians period, that would be considered ancient for us too. I'm just saying, maybe not as far back as like Kemet and those ancient Egyptians, but ancient Egyptians in terms of BC. This was their way of, it was a means of communication and recording history, documenting things. And they were just very, very detailed. I mean, to the point that it was bilingual. So yeah, I don't know why I was felt like I was meant to mention that, but again, it is in connection to ire, I think, because ire translates to rosette, as in flower. All right. So that said, let me get back on track here. The Christian calendar. So on May 8th, I thought it was. Oh, wait, this is the Hebrew calendar. May 8th, yes, is the feast day of Our Lady of Luján. It's an Argentinian recognition of the Virgin Mary. So I just went to wikipedia.com for this. It is Our Lady of Luján. It's a celebrated 16th century icon of the Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus Christ. The image, also known as the Virgin of Luján, is on display in the Basilica of Luján in Argentina. And the feast day of Our Lady of Luján is May 8th. The Luján image was made in Brazil and sent to Argentina. Tradition holds that a settler ordered the terracotta image of the Immaculate Conception in 1630. So there's your 613 for the day. I told you that number is always associated with Mary. And there it is. The year was 1630. It's just, the numbers are transposed, but it's still a 613 equals 19. which is the representation of Father always. Oh, look at that. 11 is under it. So yeah, the 11-19 for Father. Or the 6-13 for Mother. Those of you who've been watching me the whole time, you absolutely know that, and you know why. I'm not going to go into all that for now. But here it is. Here's our 1630 for the day. That's when this image was discovered and sent because this person intended to create a shrine in her honor and to help reinvigorate the Catholic faith in Santiago del Estero, which was his region. So I guess they had began to sort of, lose faith in that area. After embarking from the port of Buenos Aires, the caravan carrying the image stopped at the residence of a gentleman named Don Rosendo Ormas, and that was located in the present town of Zelaya. When the caravan wanted to resume the journey, the oxen refused to move. I was just thinking about oxen a little while ago. Okay, I know that sounds crazy. Maybe I'll explain why. Once the crate containing the image was removed, the animals started to move again. Given the evidence of a miracle, people believed that the Virgin wished to remain there. So the image was venerated in a primitive chapel for 40 years. Then the image was acquired by Ana de Matos and carried to Lujan, where it currently resides. Pope John Paul II visited the shrine during an apostolic journey, and it is now an official feast day. I talked about the month of Iyar, so that's the Jewish calendar. The other days, they just continue to count the Omer, as what I read about Iyar suggested. They're going to do that for all 49 days, which for Christians is similar to the period of the Pentecost. The Jews are counting the Omer, we're celebrating the Pentecost after 50 days. So back to the planetary calendar, and on May 4th, which is again today, at 6:45 p.m., we have the arrival of the new moon in Taurus, 14 degrees 11. On May 6th, at 2:25 p.m., Mercury enters Taurus. And on May 9th, at 6:31 a.m., oh, so there's another 6:13 for you. We have Jupiter semi-sextile Pluto. And that's it for this particular period. So only one I'm going to actually go over, since I have a new moon in Taurus reading that stands on its own, is Mercury in Taurus. And for that, I'm going to www.tarot.com. Mercury in Taurus, persistent, practical, purposeful. Mercury finds a sturdy environment in the earth sign Taurus. Mercury is the planet that rules the mind, influencing the way that we think and communicate. Taurus is a very practical and determined sign that, when energized by Mercury, can help to turn our loose ideas into real plans. Concrete values and practical perspectives are likely to take on a greater significance for all of us during this transit. Imagination, and wishful thinking can take a back seat while Mercury moves through Taurus. Instead of wandering conversations and fresh thoughts, we're given the gift of stability. We're able to take our time, plan our path, and to create strong foundations that can benefit our future. Mercury's transit through practical Taurus is a time when common sense rules. Taurus is a sign that is very connected to the material world, so there's an extra emphasis on what's real during Mercury in Taurus. This isn't a time for flight to fancy. It's about focusing on the things that are going to bring us the most tangible results. Instead of coming up with creative new ways of thinking and doing things, we should stick to what we know works now. Mercury generously excels at flexibility, but Taurus is arguably the least flexible of all the zodiac signs. So while Mercury travels through Taurus, We may find ourselves digging in and taking rigid positions when opposed by different ideas, concepts, or facts. It's imperative that we don't lose our ability to stay open-minded so that we can overcome this stubborn resistance to whatever is new or different. Taurus is a very focused sign that doesn't get sidetracked easily. During this transit, we have a heightened ability to solidify plans, garner support, and to make forward progress. Our interactions with others are calm and purposeful, keeping drama and distraction to a minimum so that we can keep our eyes on the most important goals. Because Taurus rules money and the material world, Mercury's retrograde through Taurus could bring about mishaps or miscommunications around your finances and other assets. If you're trying to make more money, asking for a raise during Mercury retrograde is not advised. Oh, I'm sorry. This is talking about Mercury retrograde. The next paragraph is actually, this paragraph that I'm reading now is actually entitled Mercury retrograde in Taurus, and I hadn't realized that, so that doesn't apply to us now. Because I was thinking as I was reading, I'm like, what are they talking about? I was getting ready to correct it. Say like, no, my reading showed that the universe wanted to help us to get money, not to lose it right now. All right. So those of you who want to read more about what goes on when Mercury retrograde is in Taurus, or if you were born with your Mercury in Taurus, natal to your chart, they have that here for you too. But I'm done. So yeah, I was thinking about oxen, and I was thinking about Taurus and the Pleiades. I mentioned some of that stuff yesterday in my moon reading, and before I was getting ready to do this, I had some other visions of Hagar, who was Abraham's first son's mother, and how she gave God the name El Roy. Hagar, her name means to chew cud, which cows do and oxen do. They chew cud. And so that's how she's connected to ox for me. And it was the whole thing with me, but just to give you some insight into how my mind works and how some of these visions and things come in throughout the day. It's so random sometimes. Anyway, let's get to this. So I'm beginning with 29. Email and weekend away with the dice. Spirit says spend money. Still weekend away. It's possible you're meant to spend money on a weekend away. Maybe planning for next weekend. Next weekend is Mother's Day. So maybe for that, or maybe planning for toward the end of the month. At least in the United States, we'll be celebrating Memorial Day. But first, also, it's 50-50. So it could be give and take. Maybe you're supposed to go Dutch on something. The cards I'm going to begin again with Major Arcana card 19, the Sun. And as we saw underneath that, I put it back upside down as it had been, is Major Arcana card 11, Strength. Past life issue with my angel therapy cards. And Unity, or the Hierophant, with the Angel Tarot cards. Major Arcana card 5. Traditional viewpoints or methods. Spiritual organizations. Seek out mentors and like-minded friends. An opening to Major Arcana card 19, the Sun. Happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success if you have confidence in yourself. And as I was doing this, so that again, more insight, I was thinking about how both of these numbers actually represent father, because the 5 is, of course, 14. The 1 and 4 is what equals a 5, and the 14 is the 14 pieces that he was chopped into. So that 14 always reminds me of him as this 5, and then 19, of course, a representation of father too. Talking, and maybe these cards are showing up because of Ramadan. So again, people who are familiar with me and my videos for any amount of time, like a year, 2 years already, that on 11/19, we, the Queen of Swords family, so to speak, we celebrate King Osiris' birthday, as he instructed me to do, and to, encourage others to do. Last year, 2018, 1119 was also the Prophet Muhammad's birthday being recognized. This year, 2019, his birthday will be recognized 11/9. But maybe these numbers are coming up in connection to Muhammad and or Ramadan and the first words of the Quran having been received by him. That would explain maybe the spirituality too. And like a son of God. And the Hierophant is a card of spirituality. Also commitments, tradition, marriage, which is also fairly prevalent during the month of May. The Page of Earth, scholarly, dependable, patient, and successful. Good news about financial matters. Wanting to do something more challenging and maybe a new area of study. The Page of Earth could in fact be a Taurus, so like the moon today, or perhaps a Capricorn, where Pluto and Saturn are both currently retrograde, or a Virgo. It's usually first and foremost a Virgo for me, the Page, because the Page is the more youthful. It doesn't have to be an earth sign at all, though. It can be just somebody likened to those traits or attributes, at least in this time. And opening to the Ace of Water, falling in love or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth and enhanced intuition, maybe even a new home. So a new beginning that will make us emotionally happy, make us feel emotionally fulfilled. Could be a commitment, a marriage, a new, or a deepening of a relationship, a deepening of spirituality, both. It could be a deepening of a spiritual relationship, like a divine union. Well, divine union isn't in quotes, air quotes or anything. A twin flame relationship, it could be representing. So one getting back together, maybe coming out of separation, or a new one blossoming, maybe like a rosette for ire. And speaking of all of that, yeah, it looks like we could be onto something. Opening to the Two of Fire, which is the twin flame or divine union card of the tarot. You've come into your own. New partnerships or contracts continue to move forward. In a general sense, the Two of Fire is also about faith. And because it's connected to, well, twos are connected to faith. Ones, so like when you see 1111, it's a bunch of ones. What that means is that you're supposed to watch your thoughts and the words you're speaking over your life, because it's like the universe alerting you, like, hey, pay attention. Think of something good right now. Think of yourself in a positive light right now, because you're manifesting. And so you manifest whatever it is with ones. And that's why the Magician is also Major Arcana card 1, right? Because that's the manifester. And then when you get up to 2, so now we're beyond that period of manifestation, and now we just got to believe that we're going to receive, right? That it's actually going to happen. And then at 3, we begin to see it taking form. And then at 4, there's a whole foundation, right? On 4 sturdy legs. So that's how that works. Unity. And Major Arcana card 0, the Dreamer, the Fool. A leap of faith, follow your dreams, that leads to unexpected opportunities. For me, the Dreamer in this deck in particular represents the planet Mercury, ruler of Virgo and Gemini. Mercury, which at least for me, also as told to me, shown to me, is a representation of thought, a vibration of thought, and ruler of communication. So thought was this like great communicator, which is also what the sign of Gemini is called. I believe him to have also been a Gemini and perhaps a cuspian, on the cusp of Taurus and Gemini, sort of like the constellation is laid out. And I had gotten to talking about the Pleiades, because the Pleiades is a little cluster, right, off of the bull. It's a separate star cluster off of the bull. And those are said to be Thought's daughters. So those are some of the things, again, that were running through my head. Maybe this is him coming through as the king of earth. Generous, professional, responsible, and practical. A successful time. Confidently accept opportunities you're offered. You have the Midas touch. The king of earth is a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Overall energy is the 10 of fire. Too much work. Accept help from others. Life is out of balance, and that creates stress-related health concerns. Oh, there's 2 there. Crowning the masculine is Major Arcana card 16, life experience, or the Tower. A significant life event, a powerful revelation that leads to change. It is time to spread your wings. This could have something to do with an actual tower, a building structure, maybe a home, or something that comes in very, very suddenly, perhaps unexpected, a total surprise, could jolt you, knock you off your feet in a good way, or maybe in a way that you're not so happy about. But for me, ultimately, whatever comes with the Tower is good, because similar to Lord Shiva, the destroyer, right? When you think of the word destroyer, you're like, okay, well, that's bad. But what he does, is the reason that it's good, is because he comes in and he just knocks down everything and rebuilds it in a better way, on a better foundation. And so that's ultimately, it's good. In the meantime, we might be upset that it was knocked down, but when it comes back, it's going to be better than ever. So that's the extent of the Tower being bad from my view, from my perspective, meaning, or therefore, it's mostly good. Now, on top of that, it can just be outright good sometimes and have nothing to do with being bad. You can get a sudden surprise that's really awesome as a result of the Tower too. Surrounding the masculine, again, there were 2 cards that came out. Interesting. They are the 6 of air and the 8 of earth. Things are looking up. It's the end of a difficult situation. You may even be taking a trip. And the 8 of earth, skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic, and maybe going back to school. I just heard a couple things. All right, so this is very specific, this first thing. Somebody could have been taking a test. They may have had to retake it. This could be SAT, this could be LSATs, this could be the MCAT, this could be CPA or something that you had to do more than once. But it's working out now. It's going to be worth it that you put in the effort, that you continue to try. And that's going to be working now. And it may result in some sort of work or study abroad. You may have to go abroad. For others, you could be leaving a job, and that may be what this sudden thing is. You could be leaving a job, maybe getting laid off or something, like all of a sudden, unexpectedly. But the training that you have is going to help you to sort of segue into a new position somewhere else, or somewhere else in the company. It's like, because you're prepared. Like I said, those 2 were very, very specific. For other people, we're moving on from a period of maybe lack of funds. Let's say we're working, but we don't have anything to show for it. We may have been actually trying to, afford a trip and having difficulty doing that before. And maybe all of a sudden, here it comes. And for some, it's not work in a sense of where it's direct labor. It can be where you kept trying to, let's say like a tax return, for example, Maybe you did it, you get some kind of, instead of getting your check, you're looking for your check in the mail. Instead of getting your check in the mail, you get some kind of letter instead. But you know you're right and you're entitled to the money, so you have to keep going back and whatever. It can be something like that too. That ultimately you finally, the work, the extra effort that you kept putting into it pays off, and now the check is coming up. Masculine subconscious, the 9 of Earth. So we progress from this 8 of Earth to an even higher energy, one where we're like thriving now. So this like came true already. Enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, successful self-employment. Crowning the feminine, the 2 of Earth. Too much going on at once. There's a need to make a decision. Consider a more playful approach. She is surrounded by the 10 of Earth. A very happy family life, financial security, and finding magic in the little things in life. Feminine, some of you may have to make a decision of like, am I going to be at work or I'm going to be at home? And that's like one of the toughest things that a mother or, family woman, wife, living girlfriend or something. Sometimes even, maybe even daughter, maybe you take care of your parents. One of the toughest things you can have to decide, like, am I going to give less time to my work and more time to my family? That may be a choice though, that you have to make, because you need balance. So nobody's telling you to like quit your job or something, but maybe you're working too many hours. Maybe you're working more than one job, and you may need to decide whether or not to scale back. For those to whom that doesn't apply, you're not working 10,000 jobs. You still need to find balance, like work and play, and make sure that you're finding like some time for yourself, not just giving to other people, even if those are people that you love dearly because they're your family or close friends you consider family or something. Feminine subconscious. There's that one that I was talking about with the Magician, Archangel Raziel. You are ready. You have the resources or the ability to manifest them, and life is magical. You could be thinking about working for yourself too, and maybe that's why you've been trying to put in a bunch of hours. You might need to find out or figure out a way to balance that out. Yes, I have to give myself in this business that I want to create, the proper amount of time and energy and money and dump resources, whatever you got to do. But at the same time, I have to maintain my health and sanity. And part of doing that is finding balance in the middle and remaining, able to have a social life, a family life, all those things. The Magician represents for me the sign of Gemini. And actually not just for me. And many people connect the Magician to the planet Mercury, which we just read about entering Taurus this week. You are ready of the resources, the ability to manifest them, and life is magical. So that's what this is all about. You manifesting things, you making intentions and bringing about, what you want in your life, the results. Crowning. A 3 of Fire, abundance. Things look very good. Have patience at this time and make long-term plans. So yes, the 3 of Fire is about, 3s in general are about abundance. They're about creativity and coming up with creative ways to help ourselves to become more abundant. Often by doing things that we love, right? And things that we are creative at, like maybe, somebody that's a writer, a poetry, an author, some sort of visual artist or something. Those are ways that you can use your passions to earn a living or to help yourself to become more abundant. The 3 of Fire or 3s in general can also have to do with what I like to call parties of 3, and sometimes of those, even love triangles. They're also about the need for patience because, as I just described earlier, we go from 1, the manifestation, to 2, the faith, to 3, it's starting to take form, but it's not quite finished yet. And then we got to wait till we get to a 4. At the root, the King of Fire, motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Maybe taking advice from someone creative too. The King of Fire is a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And he is the only character on the table officially. Like I said, the Magician can be an actual person too. It may be a Gemini specifically, but he's the only court card here. At the heart of the matter, the Ace of Water is back. Falling in love, or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth and enhanced intuition, and maybe even a new home. These cards here very clearly potentially about growth. In fact, again, we see the progression. We see the growth right before our eyes. This can be connected to maybe an addition to the family, maybe deciding whether or not to make an addition to the family. So it'll be growth in that sense too. Taking someone in, having a child, somebody close to you having a child, and decisions that have to be made in that regard. Or again, the child, your baby can be like your job, your business, and watching that take form. All of these things that would make us emotionally happy, and some of which we have, some control over. Our thoughts and things, aside from karmic energy, over which we have no control, our thoughts and the words we speak over ourselves, we do have control over that, and that becomes our reality. It could be somebody also masculine at your job that leaves abruptly, and maybe that person was like busting your balls and stuff, and you may need to like step into their position and feeling not ready, like feeling like I've been studying towards this and trying to work toward this, but I don't feel like I'm there yet. And that could be what this is, you being put into like a higher position that you don't necessarily feel ready for, but it is coming in as a blessing. It is coming in as a blessing. I don't think for anybody that's referring to, relationships. I think it is in terms of work. But I suppose it could fit with relationships too. Somebody's out and you're in, you know what I mean? You're the new boss. You're the new boss. The person getting the job. All right, so with the other deck, we'll clarify, beginning again with Major Arcana card 19, the Sun. Your plans will work out well, bringing you happiness and prosperity and success. You'll garner the recognition for your accomplishments that you so richly deserve. And opening to Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit. Take time for contemplation, to retreat and to go within. Be a beacon for others on their spiritual path of enlightenment too. So this is the Hermit, which can be about clarity and yes, enlightenment. You coming into some or helping somebody else to have a better understanding and higher consciousness. A lot of times it's us learning about us. You are both the teacher and the student. It's about introspection. All those things that the month of Ire was said to be about as well. The Hermit. And the King of Winter, intelligent, impartial, respected, and unemotional. This could absolutely be Mercury. At this time, it's very important that you communicate clearly, be objective and unemotional. Act as professionally as possible. If you need advice, seek out the most experienced expert that you can find. The King of Winter, aside from possibly being Mercury, or here to represent Mercury, is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. The Hermit. The Seven of Autumn. The planning, resources, and efforts that you've invested in your dream will reap great rewards. In the meantime, have patience and meditate on your next steps. Seven of Autumn and the Three of Autumn. So another one of these. Your most satisfying and profitable career or relationship, honestly, comes from following your passions, listening to your heart, and doing what brings you joy. Your life purpose is best fulfilled by allowing your talents and true self to shine forth out into the world, as opposed to doing what somebody else would have you do, or what society would have you do, what's appropriate, what's morally correct, all that stuff. Seven of Autumn. I'll do one more. It's the Four of Winter. Thoroughly think things through before making a decision. Continuing to overanalyze isn't going to get you any closer to a resolution, but meditation and prayer will bring you the answers you seek. Four of Winter. And it's another magician. There's magic in the air. You can manifest anything you need in order to be successful. Again, the magician represents the sign of Gemini. Overall energy is the Four of Summer, the Four of Cups, which can be about us being bored and like unimpressed with life in general. Not remembering to count our blessings. That's what we have to do, especially if you're in a period of manifestation or if there's something going on with your job. It's like important to remain thankful that you're one of the lucky people that has a job when, you know, there is no such thing as like job security anymore. You know, you're here today, you're gone tomorrow at these places. They have there's like no love and no loyalty between employer and employee, which was something, you know, of the past. It used to mean something. You were at a place for a long time and you could expect to remain there. And now, no. So yeah, it's going to be about some things might suck in your life, you know, or your surroundings, your environment. That's true. But it's going to be about being very conscious of the things that don't and expressing gratitude to the universe or God. You know, to me, that's the same entity. The universe is God. But, you know, however you look at it, expressing gratitude for what you do have. Crowning the masculine atop the tower. It is the Prince of Autumn. So again, this can be something very sudden happening. A promotion. You just weren't expecting. I'm feeling like another person involved. And I think it's because somebody leaves, somebody gets fired, somebody something. They're not there anymore. And they had been a pain in your ass. But with them out, you know, it presents an opportunity for you. The Prince of Autumn is trustworthy, dedicated, protective, and funny. It's important to make a detailed plan before starting any new endeavor. Once you have that plan in place, then you can take immediate action and get as much accomplished as possible. The Prince of Autumn is a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And they may be what this card represents. It's a court card, so it can be about a person, but it can also be about finances, the material, and something very suddenly occurring in that regard. Maybe even your home, something having to do with your home, an asset is tied to this, and something goes on very, very quickly. It comes in and happens. But, you know, based on the other cards, it seems like it's something good. Not something that's ultimately good, something that's good from the outset, right? Because we have the Six of Air here sitting underneath. And atop that Six of Air and the Eight of Pentacles is the Prince of Spring, passionate, charismatic, confident, and restless. An opportunity arises that needs your immediate attention. Yeah, like maybe a job opportunity or something. Opportunity to buy a home, to sell your home, to whatever. Something needs your attention right away. That's the fastness of the Tower. Moving quickly is important, yet there's nothing that you can't handle if you follow your inner guidance. Atop the Nine of Earth, where here you are, again, thriving. It maybe was difficult getting here, but you still are triumphant. That's what the Ace of Winter suggests. Implementation of your brilliant new idea may get off to a rocky start, but keep going. The challenges that you experience will help you to refine your plan and to reshape your goals into something even better. So the Ace of Winter comes in when there is victory after maybe some difficulty. Atop the Two of Earth is the Nine of Summer, the Nine of Cups. Now's the time your dreams come true. Don't worry about how this will happen. Just give gratitude to God for all that you have and all that's still to come. So I think for the feminine, again, we might be pulled in more than one direction. And it could be something that we've asked for. Like, oh, I want to start my own business. I pray, please, God, let me start my own business. And then here comes the opportunity. And you're like, oh, but not now. I just got a promotion. I'm just doing well at my other place now. Or not now. I got this going on and that going on. And so you don't have that balance. And you're going to have to make a decision. And or find the balance. But some wish is coming true. Some dream, is formulating. The universe helping us to make our own dreams come true, right? Use our own creativity to bring about our own abundance. Atop that 10 of Earth, where it looks like it's actually happening for you, is Justice. Major Arcana card 8, Justice, which represents the planet Venus, ruler of Taurus, but also of Libra and Gemini. Fair decisions will be made after all the evidence is reviewed impartially. Have compassion for others and try to see all sides of a disagreement. For some, this could be a settlement too that you're thankful for. Maybe it had to be split between two, involving a partnership. Maybe it's about a divorce or some other sort of legal situation or contract that is lucrative to you, and that you are happy about. Maybe even marriage. Could be marriage, could be commitment. Right? This is you making a family with somebody. That's why justice is here. Often the 10 of Earth or Pentacles for me, especially when coupled with justice, is about like a settlement. Finally, somebody left you something. It's inheritance, estate, finally being settled or something like that too. A top major arcana card 1, the Magician, is the King of Summer. Warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone. If you do, they're speaking directly from the heart. And if this is something or someone you've manifested, again, this can be a deepening of relationship. If it's not an actual legal situation, a legal connection or commitment, it could just be a deepening of your commitment or relationship. And again, something that you've prayed for. But you're going to have to find time for it. You're going to have to, make sure that you balance your time fairly between that. The King of Summer is a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Atop the 3 of Fire, it's another 2 of Autumn. So now we have one sitting next to the other. That means masculine, you've got your share of decisions and balance to come up with also. You may be under stress because of multiple jobs or too many responsibilities for one person to manage. It's important to balance your work and your personal life and to bring a spirit of fun to all you do. So make sure that on both sides, either side, we don't drive ourselves crazy with this decision we have to make or the time we have to, make for ourselves, carve out for ourselves, but that we do it. Atop the King of Fire, the 5 of Summer. So this is like disappointment, a loss. For some, that could have been something between maybe a fire sign and a water sign, maybe choosing between those or competition between those for the job. Focus upon the fact that God loves you. That's kind of like what I was saying with the 4 of Summer, overall energy of the 4. Focus on the fact that God loves you and always has your highest of intentions in mind. A positive outlook makes it easier to recover from life's little difficulties so that you can move onward and upward, right? So this is about being grateful, counting your blessings, being positive, optimistic, not doubtful, not pessimistic, not disappointed, but you may be those things, and it may have something to do with a fire sign, maybe particularly a fire sign male. And at the heart of the matter, atop the Ace of Water, boom, it is major arcana card 10, the Wheel. Wow. Expect a sudden positive change in your life. You can now move forward and make great progress. The Wheel represents the planet Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, which it rules. That can be what this Prince of Spring is about and what this King of Fire is about, but also is connected to the energy of the fixed signs. So Taurus, again, Aquarius, Leo, that can also be what this King of Fire is, and Scorpio, the King of Summer. So yeah, there may be something going on between a water sign and or fire sign, and maybe one is the loser and one is the winner. But I think for most, the 5 of Summer is showing up here as you just being doubtful, you just being pessimistic, you being kind of down in the dumps and forgetting the attitude of gratitude. And so it shows up as a reminder to keep your thoughts up, your energy up and positive, because positive things, a lot of them are on their way. My angel therapy cards, beginning with past life issue. So there could be something from your past that's coming up, or maybe something from an actual past life with which you're dealing. In the moon reading, it seemed that some of us, or a lot of us, had something going on with our parents, an issue with our father and or mother. For some it could be a positive relationship too, but we've brought something into our present lifetime. this situation has a basis in one of your previous lifetimes, ask your angels to help you to remember, release, learn, and to heal from your past experiences. And sacral chakra, which also came up. There was a lot of orange in that reading, and I said, you know, some of us might want to focus on sacral chakra. You are highly sensitive to chemicals, additives, processed foods, and energies right now. Respect your sensitivities by avoiding harsh items, situations, and relationships. Do one more. And workshops and seminars. That can be the studying, the working. Attending and giving speeches is part of your spiritual path and purpose. Be open to teaching and learning. So I think that's the most important part, that last part, be open to teaching and learning, because it sounds introspective like the Hermit, and it also sounds like this combination here of the Eight of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. Further advice to the masculine: be willing to forgive. I feel like you guys get this every week. Ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. Then you'll feel more deserving. Right? You got to let go of some guilt, it sounds like. Feminine for us: cancel, clear, delete. Use only positive words and thoughts as they're rapidly manifesting into form, just like I told you. Ask the angels to cancel the effects of past negative thinking, which is probably what this is connected to, right? It's preemptive paranoia. Masculine, the Two of Fire. You're coming into your own. New partnerships or contracts continue to move forward. So again, I feel it for most of you, that contract is something having to do with a job. That's what's contractual, but it could be a relationship too. Feminine, we got another Nine of Water Cups. Your wish comes true, concerns fade away, and you have a love of life. I think for some of us, a chapter closes, something finally comes to an end, and amen, like we've been waiting for it, and then good things happen. Masculine, Five of Winter. Your current path isn't leading you toward the happiest possible outcome, so why not change it? Always maintain integrity and compassion, but be alert to the hidden agendas of others. Somebody funky at the job, I told you. That's obviously not for everybody, but that's coming back up. And feminine for us, the Eight of Summer. You feel that there's more to life than what you're living, so it's time to move on. You see, you want to change something too. You may be moving from a situation that isn't good for you, or perhaps you're being drawn to what would make you happy. Either way, you are in control, and it's going to be good. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the reading. Again, thank you for joining me, liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'll be back with the love reading. If you want to reach out to me, services, whatever, all my information is in the description box. Namaste.